Greetings, fuckers. Another green day for AMC. Beautiful day for AMC, fighting for $4 all day intraday today. And as I'm speaking right now, AMC is in the process of gapping up. The gap up we were looking for. Absolutely beautiful day for AMC. The greatest day of them all for AMC. Phenomenal. In other news, Evergrande just filed bankruptcy. Love that. The world is currently burning all around us. I absolutely love that. Crypto's taking a shit. SPY took a shit today to 435. If you recall me saying yesterday, you could potentially expect SPY to find a bounce around 430. I believe the symmetrical equivalent would be. And yeah, I'm not going to cover SPY today. Let's just jump into AMC. So we'll start with the macro. Same shit, different day here. So downtrend from 2017 until you squeeze in 21, and the comparable would be the downtrend here from the breakdown, the flag from the June highs. So downtrend until present day. Macro break right here, the W that plays out sideways. So you have the macro break, this gap down. Macro break right here, this gap down, the W that plays out sideways. Before you get into the actual downtrend and start laddering down one step at a time on both sides, 6 points takes you to the end of the blue. And then from that point, you drop to the flat portion where you have 1, 2, 3 touches on the bottom. The third touch is the lower low. It's the lowest low in this range. And from that point, you form an uptrend, which breaks you out of the triangle and a straight line into your squeeze. And the comparable would be the current cycle here. From your 6 point, you drop down to the flat portion, 1, 2, and 3, the lower low we got last Friday. So the lower low was achieved. This was the final landmark to the downside. And from this point, we should be forming an uptrend. We already are. We're in the process of gapping up right now, actually. And this uptrend will be breaking us out of this triangle and taking us a straight line into our squeeze. So this looks very nice. The flat portion of both cycles. So once again, what we're doing here is zooming in on this, the 1, 2, 3 touches that led to the squeeze here, compared to the 1, 2, 3 touches of the current cycle now. So zooming in on this, up top January, on the bottom is the current cycle. So from the 6 point on both sides, you have a downtrend that takes you to your first bottom, breaking the red and blue horizontal lines. Again, these two horizontal lines are very important. So breaking through both, and then you're very choppy down here. This is your first bottom, and over here, same thing. You have a few pokes above the blue line on both sides. So from that point, you gap up, as you see here, and you have 5 peaks increasing in height on both sides. In the current cycle, this played out much faster than it did up here. And then from there, you come into the final iteration, the W with the tri-peak, and from the 5th point, downtrend breaks you below the red line. Bounce on the blue, reject the red, second bottom, current cycle, same story. Downtrend breaks you below the red, bounce off the blue, reject the red, second bottom. From the second bottom, you gap up. In both cycles, you gap up. Tri-peak, 3 peaks poking above the red horizontal line. So 1, 2, 3, and then over here 1, 2, and 3. Again, this took very long to play out, and we got a very nasty fake out in the middle here, the third peak of the tri-peak. The pump to $9. This whole time we were waiting for the lower low. Took a very, very long time to get it. And this fake out threw me, but nonetheless, we came down from this, rejected the red horizontal line, and gapped down to the lower low we were looking for this entire time. And since then, we have done nothing but form an uptrend here, higher highs and higher lows, pushing the blue horizontal line. If you recall me saying the 2 critical levels of resistance on AMC, the 401 to 408 range, the blue line, and then the red line being 520. So today, uptrend took us pretty much right up to the line, closed the day there. After hours, we are currently pumping over the line. There will be a gap up tomorrow, and that gap up will be the gap up we're looking for to come into the green box here. So from your third peak anyway, you drop down to your third bottom, and then you form the uptrend. So you form the uptrend back up to the blue line, and then you finally gap over right here into the green box. So in between the blue and the red line here. And that is where we're going to be tomorrow, having just got this gap up. It's happening right now after hours. So back into this range, this green rectangle here. So what we're looking for now is a continued pump tomorrow. I'm not sure. It didn't make it all the way up to the red line in the January cycle. It's possible that we do. It's possible we don't. But I'm expecting green nonetheless, depending on where after hours closes. So that's pretty much it for this. Once again, both your second and third bottom, you're rejecting this red horizontal line here. So you reject it here, second bottom on a gap, and you reject it here, third bottom on a gap to your lower low, compared to the previous cycle where you just got a reiterating bear flag all the way down to your second and third bottom. So reject here and reject here, and just get a very choppy, slow downtrend to your bottoms. Current cycle, it just gaps straight down, which I mentioned is great. We don't have to sit through this choppy downtrend. We just got a knife right to the bottom. In the process of gapping up after hours into the next range, which is perfect. And then from where we are now, where we're sitting right this second, we're going to be looking for a pump higher, potentially filling the gap at 520 before you find a rejection. Come back down to establish support, in which case you will confirm, bounce off, gap up over the red line, macro break right here, and a straight line to your squeeze. So zoomed in, here it is. So again, this is the downtrend from the fifth point, the white dots. You break below the red line, bounce off of the blue, come back up to the red and reject, get your second bottom, and then over here, same thing. Breaking below the red, bounce off the blue, come back up to the red, reject, second bottom. Gap up from there on both sides, 3 peaks above the red horizontal line. And then from this point, again, this red horizontal line where you got your rejection to the second bottom, you get the same thing to your third, and this is the lower low. And over here, same thing. So rejection here, lower low, third bottom. And currently in this uptrend, and actually just got the gap up here that we're looking for. This is playing out much, much faster than it played out in the previous cycle. I've covered that multiple times that I would expect it to, as we are running through the flat portion faster. So once again, this is just some very simple math here. The previous cycle, the January 2021 cycle up top, from the beginning of it, the flat portion, from the beginning of the flat portion until your third bottom, 319 days compared to the current cycle from the beginning of the flat portion until your third bottom, 253 days. So we're running through the flat portion faster in the current cycle, and just doing a very quick calculation here, 319 divided by 253, we're running through this 1.2 times faster. From your third bottom in January 2021 until your peak was 15 days. 15 divided by 1.2 is 12 days, and 12 days lands on August 29th, 7 trading days post OPEX, and the week after we get the reverse split and the conversion, which will be happening next Thursday, Friday, and then you have your weekend, Monday, and then Tuesday is August 29th. So, and again, you know, just reiterating the fact that for the past, 5-6 months, I've been saying the conversion reverse split is our catalyst for the squeeze, and that will be happening at the end of next week. So this looks very good. So as far as the tracking goes, phenomenal. The fact that the reverse split and conversion is lining up for the tracking, I absolutely fucking love that. The fact that there's banks collapsing all around us, I love that. And yeah, just moving on. To the last thing I'm going to be showing today is the daily gaps. I'm not going crazy through this. I've mentioned this multiple times that all the gaps in the flat portion all throughout are the same, and there's even more that I don't have labeled because it would just be a fucking cluttered mess. But they are all the same. All the gaps are the same. And then when we came down to our third bottom, I mentioned we would be in this ascending channel, trading, forming higher highs and higher lows until you get this yellow flag here, this gap up. Right, so this is where we were when we got the initial knife. This was Monday's candle following that Friday after hours knife. I said you're gonna have a channel here. You're gonna trade in this channel, forming higher highs and higher lows until you get this yellow flag, like you saw back here, the gap up over. So present day, here we are, and this played out very, very fast, very, very accelerated here. 4 candles, 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, and it is a channel. And played out perfectly, and we're in the process of gapping up right now. So this is where we are. This is what we're looking for now, is this breakout iteration that should be taking us around $5, $5.20-ish, probably fill the gap around $5.20, and then that's where we're going to reject, come down to bounce on top of the channel as support, confirm, and then these 2 candles here are your macro break. This is the next gap we're going to be looking for right here, these 2 red candles. And that is pretty much it. I mean, I mentioned multiple times we're at the end here. We are at the finish line. So we just broke above here. Let me actually just pull up a chart really quick, see what we're doing right now. We pulled back. Oh no, we didn't. 416. So pulled back a little bit. But nonetheless, this will be a gap tomorrow, and I'm expecting even more upside. We got a pump after hours to 436, came back down to 405 to test the previous range as support. 405, this range here, testing this range all day long today as support here, bouncing off, rejecting. After hours, we got the move over up to 435, came down to test, bounced off, and here's where we are now. I'm expecting upside tomorrow. There will be a gap on the daily, and I'm almost positive this is the gap that we're looking for that I just showed you, which is right here. This gap right here. So from this point tomorrow, we should see upside, and we're going to look for this move next, this flag type move. So you get the upside, you come down to test the previous range as support, confirm, bounce off, and then gap up over the red line, macro break, straight line into your squeeze from there. So that's pretty much it for the video. I'm not going to go too crazy into this. You know, it looks great. I love the move that we're seeing right now, but I'm not going to be getting excited until we get over this red line. We're going to, but you know, until then, my energy is not going to be on 1,000. So looks great. I'll catch you guys in the next one.